Good evening, and we start with the bus company that's been fined £2.3 million after ignoring safety warnings about a driver. Good evening, and we start with the bus company that's been fined £2.3 million after ignoring safety warnings about a driver who was then involved in a fatal crash. Kailash Chanda mistook the accelerator for the brake pedal. He crashed into a supermarket building in Coventry, killing Dora Hancox, who was a pedestrian, and 7-year-old Rowan Fitzgerald, who was actually on the bus. The court was told that 77-year-old Mr. Chanda had been involved in 4 crashes in the last 3 years. Here's our special correspondent, Peter Wilson.
It should have been a quiet weekend in Coventry city centre. Instead, a double-decker bus is driven out of control by a driver who the court heard may already have been suffering from dementia. It culminated in horror and tragedy.
I was shouting, screaming, run, run. That's all I remember screaming.
Shopper Teal Portlock, seen here in the black sweatshirt, probably saved many lives. He punched through the window of the bus to try and help the injured.
Some of the glass or debris from the impact had obviously gone into my eyes while going like that. And my initial thought was to run away, and then I thought, no, I can't. I've got to go around the opposite side of the bus to obviously help people get off.
Pensioner Dora Hancox was hit by the bus and killed. On the upper deck, 7-year-old Rowan Fitzgerald died when the bus crashed into the canopy of the Sainsbury's supermarket.
Oh my God!
The X18 was driven by Kailash Chanda, 77 years old. He was retired, but despite repeated warnings about his driving abilities, that week he worked 75 hours for the Midland Red bus company. The MP from the Fitzgerald family's constituency says laws need to change.
This driver, let us just note, was doing 76, 77 hours every week for 4 weeks before this fatal accident. We have to get consistency across the piece for those people driving heavy goods vehicles and passenger vehicles.
Mr Chanda, a former mayor of Leamington Spa, was declared unfit to stand trial. He'd been involved in 4 previous crashes leading up to the fatal accident. His employers, the Midland Red, were today fined £2.3 million for significant health and safety failings. The family of Rowan Fitzgerald have often been in tears throughout this court case.
The company had a duty to protect all the passengers on the bus that day. Instead, the company allowing the driver to get behind the wheel and him not being fit to drive ripped our family apart.
The bus company apologised for the heartache caused and said lessons had been learned. But Rowan's family say they're having to live with the cruel way that the schoolboy died. Peter Wilson, BBC Midlands Today.
Bin men in Birmingham are threatening to go on strike again following 12 weeks of industrial action last year. The Unite unions balloting for a second strike amid claims that workers who didn't take part last year have had extra payments from the council. If there is a second strike, it will begin on December the 28th, just when the dustbins are bulging after the festive season. Kevin Reid reports.